Hey gamers, it's G from the corner, and today we're going to be talking about Kirby Air Riders, which just released about a week ago on the Nintendo Switch 2. This is the third major first-party release on the system. Okay, there's technically been a handful of Switch 2 editions and some digital-only games, but this is like the third big one, and the first big one in about 3 months. We had a bit of a gap there after Donkey Kong Bonanza came out, but we're finally back with another big Switch 2 exclusive from Nintendo, and it's a Kirby game. Can you believe it, guys? A Kirby game, a new Kirby game for little old G from the corner to review. Finally, after all this time, you know, I've been doing the YouTube thing for about 2.5 years now, and I love me some Kirby, but there has not really been much Kirby to cover. I talked about the Forgotten Land DLC back in August, which definitely was a bit of an appetizer for the main event of the Kirby series this year, Kirby Air Riders. And boy, does it feel good to say that. Kirby Air Ride has gotten a sequel at long last. The cult classic that so many people have loved, and I always thought was pretty good. It just needed some TLC for sure. There was not enough in this game at launch, and you know, considering how rushed the game's original development was, that makes sense to me. But that's always fueled this desire for a sequel that expanded things and gave the game more depth and, you know, just had more stuff to do. Kirby Air Riders is the name of the game now because you can pick your character. Originally, it was just Kirby with a bunch of vehicles, and honestly, most Kirby spin-offs kind of go in this direction. You just play as Kirby. Sometimes each copy ability is treated as its own character. Sometimes the whole gimmick of copy abilities is used as an excuse as to why Kirby is the only playable character. Kirby is a very malleable character, so, you know, it kind of works to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play as yellow Kirby, and that's my Kirby. But you know what? For Kirby Air Ride to get a big budget, full price sequel, I think they needed to go this direction, alright? Being able to play as Rick the Hamster and Taranza, holy cow, this is amazing. I love it so much. I think the roster genuinely was fantastic. You know, there's always been this fear that Sakurai's been biased towards the Kirby games that he directed, and while a lot of the characters do come from those games, there are some substantial characters that I never would have expected him to acknowledge. Okay, Taranza for one, but like they have Megalore, Suzy, and Taranza, you know, the three kind of early 2010s Kirby mainstay characters that existed for like one game and came back in Star Allies and have been used in marketing a bunch. Rick is here, whose game appearances consist entirely of titles that Sakurai had nothing to do with. Okay, DeRoach from Squeak Squad is here. And on top of that, you have a bunch of fun enemy characters. You know, some very silly guys who I never would expect to see playable, but I'm not going to complain that they're taking up slots, okay? The fact that Rocky and Cappy and Starman are playable in this game is super, super funny. And the other, like, you know, expected characters that are here are good as well. You know, of course, we got the main quartet from Return to Dreamland. We got Chef Kawasaki here, Lololo and La La La. You know, honestly, a fantastic roster. Although the one thing that kind of bummed me out was that Sakurai in the second direct made it seem like there would be several hidden unlockable characters that were not revealed. In reality, there's just one, and he is cool, but I would have preferred a few other characters make the cut. Honestly, there are like one or two big omissions. Adeline and Elflin are the main ones that come to mind. Where are they? They're also characters about as relevant as Megalore, Taranza, and DeRoach, you know, have one major appearance in the series and then get kind of referenced constantly. I was really surprised not to see them, especially Adeline. I thought Adeline was definitely a lock, but I guess they couldn't come up with any interesting gameplay mechanics for them because all the characters play wildly differently from one another. They have stat changes, but they also behave differently in some areas. Taranza's my main, not only because he's my favorite boy, but also because he's Spider-Man. You can do a boost charge from a corner, but instead of holding down to actually charge your boost, you could just press A and he'll web sling around the corner. I guess that means it's time for me to start talking about the gameplay. So, Kirby Air Riders is a kart racer in a sense, but it's a very untraditional one. Each vehicle behaves completely differently from one another, and kind of you have to pick your own gameplay style based on which rider you enjoy and which vehicle you enjoy. Some vehicles and riders have gimmick overlaps as well, so if you want, say, DeRoach's copy ability stealing mechanic, you could just use the Vampire Star on another character, but that limits your options for what kind of vehicles you can pick. But if you pick DeRoach as a character, you don't get to, say, take advantage of King Dedede's hammer swings or Taranza's web slinging again. You know, it's a very interesting system, and I really like how the vehicles are so varied from one another. For one, you don't accelerate in this game. The game just moves you on its own, and you hold A to kind of charge up. You'll charge up and start slowing down, but in reality, you want to do this when you're turning a corner to essentially boost you. It's very unconventional, but the game takes that unconventionalness and kind of forces you to learn it, and even makes a bunch of other alternate control methods on top of that. There are some simpler cars and vehicles that I think would work well for people who don't really grasp the mechanics. For one, I think the Warp Star, any of the wheelie bikes, and especially the new Chariot would definitely be good for that. They're very standard vehicles. They have all-around stats, you know. They're good for learning the mechanics of the game, but then there's some really goofy ones, like the Swerve Star. You can't turn with this thing. You have to come to a complete stop to be able to turn. Or the new Tank Star, where if you hold down the charge button, you won't slow down. In fact, you'll just keep going in a straight line, so you kind of want to start charging up really early and then just shoot yourself forward as you turn a corner. It's really cool, but really tough to manage, you know. There's a bunch of other cool vehicles as well, but some of them I don't think are very good for racing, but that is by design. This game has so much more to it than just racing. I would hesitate to call it really a racing game at its core. It's kind of just a vehicle party game, if that makes any sense. The main modes here are the titular Air Ride, Top Ride, and City Trial. Air Ride is your standard race mode where you go through a handful of courses, and you know, they're all so like just spectacle filled. They're so exciting and exhilarating. At some points you'll just ride across grind rails for like a little bit, and you know, it's almost like a breather where you get to just take in the visuals, and then when you get launched off, everything, all hell breaks loose and you're trying to beat up your opponents, get some copy abilities, you know, attack everybody. You know, it's crazy and chaotic, and I love it. In comparison, Top Ride is more about the substance, you know? You don't have that much spectacle in the game, but now you're racing through tracks reminiscent of slot car courses, and I think this mode is very cool. I always thought it was fun in the original, but in this game, they definitely dialed it up. I mean, having like 9 courses over 7, that's nice because there's more content now, but I think it's a very fun mode. When we first picked up the game, me and some buds, we spent 3 hours straight on Top Ride. I jokingly said, let's start with Top Ride because I want to see how Top Ride is in the new game, and I thought, okay, we'll play a little bit of Top Ride and then we'll all move on to Road Trip or City Trial, but no, we like grinded Top Ride. We got like over a third of the in-game achievements knocked out via just that 3-hour session. It was actually crazy. We loved that mode, and honestly, I think it's a ton of fun. Some will say it's better than Air Ride. You know, honestly, I think they're both about even in quality. Air Ride definitely has more built into it. It's got more tracks for one, and it's the more dynamic mode, but Top Ride is definitely fun as well. It's more than just a silly little Mario Party minigame. This is definitely a fun little side racer. I really like it. And then of course you have the one and only City Trial. This has been the reason people have wanted this game to come back for so long. I've heard some people say they should have just sold a $20 version of City Trial and called it a day, and I mean, I understand where they're coming from. I think the whole game personally is fantastic, so I wouldn't really say that, but yeah, City Trial is so much fun. Oh my gosh, it's like a battle royale, but with vehicles, and where you have a goal and you're trying to achieve that goal by the end of the game. I did a legacy review on Kirby Air Ride earlier in the year, actually, where I described the mode in a little bit more depth, but essentially, you have a limited amount of time to explore this city, power yourself up, get some vehicles, and then at the end of your time limit, play a stadium event, and you know, your vehicle is that vehicle. Hopefully you play a stadium event that works towards your vehicle's benefits. Actually, they changed that in this game. By default, when a city trial ends, you pick between 4 events and you play that event. It's really good because now you will guarantee to play an event that benefits the vehicle that you have chosen, and sometimes if you pick an event that no one else picked, then you'll just win by default. This is a cool idea in concept, and I think it works well in the quick play online setting, but I'm never turning this feature on with friends. The whole point of City Trial is that you're all kind of messing with each other, and then at the end you all compete in this one final contest. The fact that it gets split up, and then you can't even have more than 8 people in one like stadium event in the first place, it's a bit silly to me personally. I never really liked this concept from when I heard about it, and in execution, yeah, I kind of just wish it wasn't the default. There is actually an event going on at the time of this recording where you just play City Trial the way it originally was in Air Ride, and you know, I'm sure that's pretty fun with randoms even, but the idea is very, very cool. I understand the concept. I think it was a good concept, and I'm happy they went for it. But personally speaking, I will definitely be playing the old way, and I'm happy the old way's there. You know, it's always good to have options in games, especially like this. So that would be the extent of the modes in this game, but of course this is a big release. Obviously they're not just going to make it multiplayer only. They put in a huge single player campaign, and it's pretty fun actually. Road Trip. This is kind of the fourth main mode of the game, but it's not a multiplayer mode obviously. It is structured very much like a roguelike, but it's not really a roguelike in difficulty. If you lose a challenge, you can easily retry it, and there's only one difficulty that actually punishes you, but it just sends you to the start of the stage instead of the start of the whole run, which honestly wouldn't even be that punishing. You can clear Road Trip in about like 2 to 3 hours if you know what you're doing, probably even less honestly. But it's a fun mode. It sees your selected character driving down a straight line and then completing one of 3 challenges that you encounter, and then, you know, depending on the challenge, you'll get stat increases. It's basically the city trial system, except put into a campaign where you get upgrades by doing little missions. And you can also find vehicles along the way. And it does the thing that the Dark Matter trilogy of Kirby games did, where, like, there's a true ending if you collect all the things, in this case being all the vehicles, but there's a bad ending if you don't. It's really cool that something like this was brought back, especially considering that Sakurai didn't make any of the Dark Matter games. But yeah, no, I mean, like, it's a super fun mode. There's not that much to say about it. You know, the missions can be a little intense at times. Sometimes you can make the wrong vehicle decision, and that's okay. You know, you can just retry with the right vehicle if you fail, so it's not really the end of the world. It's a fun mode, and I'm glad it's here, but you can't actually get the true ending on your first attempt, so it does force you to play it twice if you want to actually go for completion. Heck, a few more times to do all the challenges, and there's little markers showing which characters you've beaten it with on the title screen, so I'm guessing I'm going to have to do it with all 21 characters if I want to really 100% the game. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's any reward for doing it with all of them, just, you know, it says that you've done it. I kind of hate that. There's a lot of Kirby games now that do that, where it's like, oh, hey, if you do the hard boss rush or something with every character, you know, it'll show which characters you've done it with. Like Star Allies did this for its damn arena mode, where there's like 3 separate crowns that each character gets depending on which level of difficulty you cleared the boss rush with, and it's like, dude, I don't, like, that's so much. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that for all 60 or 70 characters in that game. Like, that was, no. I think one of the things that truly astounds me about Kirby Air Riders is just all the extra stuff in it too. So they added a vehicle customization mode, which is just so extra. Like, I was not expecting that at all, but it's just so much fun. I've seen so many crazy designs people have made. I've made a few designs myself. You know, we got the corner mobile, we got the stinky mobile, you know, great stuff. But like, seriously, some of the things people have cooked up in this mode are actually crazy to me. Every time you beat someone online and beat a few challenges in the story mode, you'll get a gummy. It's a little squished up model of a vehicle from the game, and like, you can play with them. Essentially, if you remember the trophy horde from previous Smash games, it's that. But all the gummies fall down onto the screen and you can start knocking them around, and you can do a bunch of other physics-based things with them. This is the power of Switch 2. I thought for sure this mode would have been mouse controlled, because you literally move a Kirby cursor around, and like, it's a Switch 2 exclusive. You know, I figured they would have wanted to shoehorn the mouse in somewhere, but no, I guess not. Alright, cool. There's also tons of remixes in the game. Now, you know me, I love my Kirby music, so what Kirby songs did they remix? Probably a bunch of ones from Sakurai's games. Nope, not at all. But for some reason, they were really hesitant to remix anything Return to Dreamland on. Like, the newest game to get a remix in this game is Mass Attack for some reason. And like, you know, I like Mass Attack. I think it's got a very fun aesthetic, but really, you remixed a Mass Attack song? Okay, interesting. There's a ton of straight rips from Kirby games, and like the original Air Ride had that as well, but I think it's a little bit weird how like this game still does that. Like, it's so weird, right? Like, the original Air Ride had alternate tracks that would play on its Air Ride courses depending on, like, you know, just randomness and certain criteria. And like, they do that again here. First of all, the returning courses are all in this game, which is cool, but like, they do that here, and it's the same songs for those courses, but then, okay, the new tracks all probably get new songs, right? No, they give remixes to like half of them and straight rips to the other half, and they do the same thing in Top Ride, where like half of them get remixes and half of them get straight rips, and it's weird because, like, you know, some courses, their Top Ride counterpart gets a remix, their Air Ride counterpart doesn't, some courses vice versa, some courses both do. It's really random what they did. I think they genuinely just didn't want to remix anything that came from Kumazaki's games, which is just so random to me. It's so weird. Like, they don't hate them, clearly. They put music from them in the game, but it's like, okay, here's the biggest one. Like, the Galactic Nova is a track in the game, and that's so cool. That's so sick. It's such a fun track, right? But like, Nova has appeared in like 3 Kirby games now: Superstar, Air Riders, and Planet Robot, when it was the twist surprise at the end where actually the big battleship that the evil company was riding was a Galactic Nova. So why was the alternate music track for the Galactic Elva course, not Mind in a Program from Kirby Planet Robot. That doesn't make, like, why? Why was it not that? That makes so much sense. Even if it was just a straight rip or a rip of the Star Allies medley of that song, like, that would have made so much sense to me, but nope. No, it's what, in like the Air Ride track, it's just crowned from Return to Dreamland as a straight rip. And then in the Top Ride track, it's Taranza's theme from Team Kirby Clash. So they repped like 2 of the 3 games that are in that like kind of trilogy, but not the one that Nova actually appears in. There's like so much attention to detail and other things with references to other Kirby games, but like, you know, for some reason, this is where they were like, nah, we can't do that. It's like so obvious to me, right? But I can't complain about anything because they remixed Cloudy Park from Dreamland 2, and that's like one of my favorite Kirby songs of all time, and I almost cried when I heard it. Like, just randomly, I unlocked the Crystal Top Ride alternate track. Oh, I wonder what this song is going to be, and I start playing it, it's Cloudy Park, and I nearly like screamed. It was actually, I was so surprised. I was so shocked. There's plenty of other amazing things in this game. Like, I didn't mention the license customization. Did you know you can make your own Kirby driver's license? So cool, right? The lobby system's really good for online as well. And there's a ranked mode for every single mode in the game. That's so fun. Hopefully the servers don't completely dry up in a few weeks, but we'll see what ends up happening. I could go on about this game, but I think I've said most of what needed to be said. Kirby Air Riders is a fantastic title from someone and a team that always makes fantastic games. I don't think this game being good was much of a shock to anyone, really, but I have certainly been having a blast with it. Is it my favorite Kirby game in the series now? Probably not. There's still definitely a few other games that beat it out, but I will say it is very, very good. Comes highly recommended, especially at the price tag. I think there's a lot here for what you're getting. I think this is a great game for sure. I'm happy that it's just done, you know? As much as I think DLC and updates are cool, it's very nice that this game came out and they very clearly said there is no DLC, there is no updates. Probably because Sakurai is going straight to work on Smash Bros, but forgetting about that for a second and, you know, being a little less cynical and heartfelt, I am really happy that they made a sequel to Kirby Air Ride. I mean, obviously, so you saw my reaction at the start of the year. I lost it. So I'm happy that this game delivered, and I'm happy that this game seems to be resonating with so many people. I made the Rick video a little bit ago, and like, yeah, you know, it's really cool that people love Rick now. People know who Rick is. I mean, like, you know, Rick's not an obscure character, but like, he's only someone that I think people who are actually fans of Kirby would recognize. But to see that he is now beloved by everyone, that's like so cool. That's so cool. I hope like this continues to grow the Kirby franchise, at least, you know? That's like the one thing that's been making me very excited about this game. This game clearly has had more budget than any Kirby game in a number of years, and I really hope to see that pay off. I really hope this game finds a lot of success, it finds its audience, and we just get to see this franchise grow even more, you know? I've just loved seeing the growth of it, and I think Kirby's super cool. And I really hope that we got plenty more Kirby games to come and to cover on the corner. I really hope so, you know? I am very happy that I was here for the Kirby Air Riders journey, and I can't wait to see what happens with this series next. The anniversary is just a year or so away, so I'm sure there's going to be more Kirby to talk about very soon. But with that, I'm going to leave everyone here today. Keep yourselves cornered for more on Kirby, Nintendo, the Switch 2, and other things in the gaming space as well. And I will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.